Have you ever wondered why, after buying something just to impress someone, the feeling of satisfaction disappears so quickly? Why a new phone, trendy clothes, or an expensive gadget rarely brings the happiness you imagine? This isn't a coincidence, it's psychology and finance intertwined. When you spend money to impress people who don't really matter in your life, you become a prisoner of their opinions and your own impulses. Today, we'll explore why this behavior is harmful to your financial stability and how you can change your approach to money and consumption. Hi, I'm Max. If you find this video useful and interesting, make sure to like and subscribe. Here, we calmly and clearly talk about finances, planning, and smart money habits so that your decisions are thoughtful, not impulsive. Today, we're discussing a common problem: buying things to impress others, and why it can cost you more than just money. First, it's important to understand the psychological side of this behavior. Social media and modern culture create the illusion that success is measured by possessions. A new car, branded shoes, or the latest phone model often become symbols of status. But in reality, the value of these purchases is temporary. After a few weeks or months, the initial wow factor fades, while debts or depleted savings remain. This phenomenon is called hedonic adaptation. People quickly get used to new things and stop receiving emotional satisfaction from them. For example, imagine this scenario. Your friend buys an expensive gadget, and you feel pressured not to fall behind. You spend $1,000 on a new phone, even though your old one still works perfectly. At first, you feel excited, but after a few days, you start noticing the debt or missing savings for more important things, like travel, education, or investments. In the end, you neither impress anyone nor feel happy about the purchase. Another crucial aspect is social expectation manipulation. People around us often judge based on external attributes, cars, gadgets, clothes, rather than personal growth or skills. When you buy things to fit someone else's standards, you become a hostage of their definitions of success. True freedom comes from investing in yourself and your goals, not in items that quickly lose value. Even simple examples illustrate this well. Picture two individuals. One saves a portion of their salary for investments or professional development courses, while the other spends money on branded shoes and accessories. A year later, the first person may have passive income or new skills that advance their career. The second person, however, ends up with a closet full of items that will soon go out of style. This example clearly shows that financial discipline and avoiding unnecessary expenses create far more long-term value. It's also essential to consider the emotional side. Buying things to impress others often triggers short-term emotional spikes that fade quickly. In contrast, investing in yourself or your future provides a steady sense of confidence and control. For instance, spending $500 on professional courses or starting a small business can yield results for years, unlike the temporary joy of a new jacket or smartphone. So, the first step toward change is realizing that your purchases don't define your value in the eyes of others. True wealth is not measured by branded items but by your time, knowledge, and financial freedom. Now that we've understood the psychological and social traps behind buying things to impress others, the next step is to explore practical strategies to break this cycle. Changing your spending habits isn't just about restricting yourself, it's about creating a mindset that prioritizes value, purpose, and long-term benefits over fleeting impressions. The first strategy is awareness of spending triggers. Start by identifying the situations where you feel the urge to buy something unnecessary. Is it when scrolling through social media, or after seeing a colleague or friend with the latest gadget? By pinpointing the triggers, you can pause before making impulsive decisions and consider whether the purchase truly aligns with your priorities. For instance, imagine you see a friend post a photo of a new luxury watch online. Your immediate impulse might be to buy one as well, thinking it will elevate your social image. Instead, take a step back and ask, will this watch improve my life, or am I buying it to impress people I don't even know? Often, just asking this question can prevent an unnecessary expense. Many people find that simply delaying a purchase by a day or a week provides clarity. In many cases, the initial urge fades, revealing that the item wasn't truly needed. Another powerful approach is redefining what success means to you. True financial freedom and personal growth don't come from possessions but from knowledge, skills, and experiences. Start measuring your achievements in ways that are independent of external validation. For example, instead of buying a new car to signal status, you could invest in a course that enhances your career, or allocate funds toward a personal project that gives long-term satisfaction. Over time, you'll notice that the joy derived from tangible achievements far exceeds the temporary thrill of a new item. A practical tool for this is budgeting with intentionality. Create clear categories in your budget for necessary expenses, savings, investments, and discretionary spending. Within discretionary spending, set strict limits for non-essential purchases. This doesn't mean you can never enjoy treats or small luxuries, but it ensures your spending is deliberate rather than reactive. For instance, if you allocate $100 a month for personal indulgences, you might choose to spend it on a meaningful experience, like attending a workshop or a cultural event, instead of buying a trendy gadget that will lose its appeal quickly. Additionally, cultivating gratitude for what you already have is an effective psychological strategy. Many impulsive purchases stem from a sense of lack or comparison. By consciously appreciating the possessions, skills, and opportunities you already have, you reduce the need to seek validation through material goods. For example, keeping a journal where you note small achievements or things you are thankful for can strengthen your awareness of existing value in your life. Over time, this practice shifts focus from external approval to personal contentment. Finally, consider the long-term consequences of unnecessary spending. Every dollar spent to impress someone else is a dollar not invested in your future. Over a year, seemingly small impulsive purchases can add up to thousands of dollars. Imagine redirecting those funds into a diversified investment portfolio or using them to start a side business. The results compound over time, offering financial security, freedom, and the ability to pursue opportunities without pressure from social expectations. Breaking free from the habit of buying things to impress others is not about deprivation. It's about reclaiming control over your money, your decisions, and your life. By practicing awareness, redefining success, budgeting intentionally, cultivating gratitude, and considering long-term consequences, you create a financial ecosystem that supports your personal goals rather than someone else's perception. Over time, this approach not only strengthens your financial stability but also fosters genuine confidence and independence. By now, we've explored the psychological traps that drive people to buy things to impress others and discussed practical strategies to resist them. Let's go deeper and examine how consistently applying these strategies can impact your financial situation, decision-making, and overall mindset. Changing spending habits is not just about money, it also affects your confidence, clarity, and long-term opportunities. When you make intentional choices with your finances, patterns begin to emerge that highlight what truly adds value to your life and what doesn't. Recognizing these patterns allows you to adjust your approach and make smarter, more conscious decisions over time. A major benefit of avoiding unnecessary purchases for the sake of appearances is the ability to redirect resources towards skill development and personal growth. Imagine someone spending $1,000 on the newest smartphone and luxury items to maintain a social image. Now compare that to a person who invests the same amount in an online course, professional certification, or small business project. Within a year, the first person may still feel pressure to keep up appearances, while the second person gains tangible skills, career advancement opportunities, and potential additional income. This demonstrates how deliberate spending aligned with long-term goals produces compounding benefits over time. Breaking free from this habit also improves financial discipline. Small steps, such as pausing before making non-essential purchases, tracking every expense, and setting clear limits for discretionary spending, gradually strengthen your ability to manage money effectively. Over months and years, these habits accumulate into a strong financial foundation. For example, if someone redirects $200 monthly from impulse purchases to savings or investments, they could accumulate $2,400 or more in a year, without any drastic lifestyle changes. The consistent practice of intentional spending gradually reshapes financial behavior and long-term stability. The emotional impact is equally significant. Buying to impress others often leads to short-term excitement followed by regret or stress. Constant comparison to peers can cause dissatisfaction, anxiety, and a sense of inadequacy. By shifting focus toward personal priorities and meaningful goals, you reduce these emotional pressures. For instance, choosing a practical car that meets your needs frees up funds for a course or travel experience that contributes to growth and lasting happiness. Over time, making decisions based on internal values rather than external validation strengthens confidence and independence. Real-world examples highlight these differences vividly. Two colleagues might earn the same salary, but one spends on luxury items to maintain social status, while the other invests in education, side projects, or experiences. After a year, the second person typically has more skills, more opportunities, and a stronger financial position, while the first may remain trapped in a cycle of temporary gratification. This illustrates how intentional decisions, even small ones, shape long-term outcomes, reinforcing the importance of mindful spending and prioritization. Finally, observing these patterns over time reveals a key insight: building sustainable habits creates cumulative advantages. Each conscious choice not to overspend on appearances strengthens financial freedom, encourages personal growth, and gradually reduces reliance on external approval. Understanding the problem and strategies is only half the battle. Real change happens when you apply these principles consistently in your daily life. The key is to create habits that reinforce thoughtful spending, long-term thinking, and self-awareness. One of the most effective practices is tracking your spending meticulously. By writing down every purchase, you gain a clear picture of where your money goes and identify areas where spending is driven by social pressure rather than need. For example, if you notice repeated small purchases aimed at impressing others, you can consciously redirect that money toward meaningful goals, such as building an emergency fund, investing, or saving for experiences that enhance your life. This small shift in awareness can dramatically improve financial control over time. Another essential habit is setting concrete financial goals. Instead of vague intentions like, "I want to save more," define specific objectives: invest $500 per month, save for a course, or fund a travel experience that broadens your perspective. These goals give purpose to your spending decisions and make it easier to resist impulses motivated by social comparisons. For instance, if your goal is to build a passive income stream, you'll naturally reconsider a $200 purchase meant solely to impress a colleague, realizing that it slows progress towards something truly valuable. It's equally important to practice delayed gratification. When you feel the urge to buy something unnecessary, pause for a period, a day, a week, or even a month. Often, the initial impulse fades, revealing that the item was never truly needed. Over time, this practice strengthens self-control and reduces emotional spending. For example, many successful investors and entrepreneurs follow this principle, carefully weighing each financial decision against long-term benefits rather than short-term satisfaction. Additionally, cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Recognize that your value does not depend on material possessions or external approval. By appreciating what you already have, your skills, knowledge, relationships, and experiences, you reduce the psychological need to keep up with others. Gratitude and self-awareness shift your focus from external validation to internal fulfillment. Writing a gratitude journal or reflecting on achievements can reinforce this mindset, helping you make more intentional and confident decisions with money. Finally, remember the power of compounding not just in finance, but in habits and mindset. Each conscious spending decision, each dollar saved or invested instead of wasted on superficial impressing, builds momentum. Over months and years, These small, consistent actions accumulate into significant wealth, freedom, and opportunities. The same principle applies to personal growth. By consistently prioritizing meaningful investments over fleeting appearances, you create a life that aligns with your values and long-term goals. In conclusion, breaking free from the habit of buying things to impress people you don't even like is more than a financial strategy, it's a life strategy. By tracking spending, setting clear goals, practicing delayed gratification, cultivating gratitude, and leveraging compounding habits, you can transform your financial future and your mindset. True success and fulfillment come not from items you own, but from the freedom, confidence, and control you cultivate along the way. Start today, make intentional choices, and invest in what truly matters, yourself and your future.